Hello dear viewers, and welcome back to the ancient dwarven hold of our ancestors. Today I shall be talking about the game Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Cosmic Invasion, as I will hereby call it, is a scrolling beat-em-up in the classic style that was developed by Tribute Games and published by .emu and Gamera Games. In Cosmic Invasion, you take on the role of a Marvel superhero as you attempt to save the galaxy from the big bad guy Annihilus. You will scroll to the right and sometimes to the left, beating up baddies with powerful combinations and abilities. Being somewhat of a scrolling beat-em-up dwarf, this game is of course right up my alley. I have been watching it for a while now, and when they announced the launch date, I was ready to rumble. The whole Marvel thing kind of passed me by, but I'm definitely interested when heroes are featured in a scrolling beat-em-up. The roster features numerous characters that I would love to play in this sort of game. Indeed, beating up baddies and then some end boss seems exactly written for a superhero type, so expectations are high. And I would say those expectations have been on the whole met rather well. The developers Tribute Games are the same people that developed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, so assuming they would be doing this in the classic 2D dimensional style was right on. It is very much that 90s arcade console style with 2D sprites that very much look like they were not only of that decade, but great depictions of the subject characters, both goodies and baddies. Like Shredder's Revenge, this style is very nostalgic, as if it was created for old dwarfs that grew up playing Streets of Rage, Turtles in Time, and of course themselves in Golden Axe. The colours are bright and cartoony, like they might be straight out of the original X-Men arcade or the 90s cartoon. I know most of the heroes in the game and they definitely look like what I recall them as, and that is not necessarily what you might imagine them being in modern media. Wolverine has that brown looking costume, and the guy you might think is Thor is actually someone else called Beta Ray Bill, which I've never seen before. Showing my ignorance of the lore, I know. The animations look good, with enough frames in each of their skills to look smooth and responsive. It all looks rather great, and although this of course plays on my nostalgia truly, if you're into Marvel and or scrolling beat-em-ups, then I think this style will appeal to you. Sound-wise, there is dialogue in the cutscenes, which are drawn in that old-school style once again. Some of the voices remind me once more of the 90s cartoon, so that is nice. The heroes will also come out with some one-liners as you play, especially when you make use of the tag system employed here. Contact with the enemy sounds crunchy and satisfying, which is exactly what you're looking for in a game such as this. There are two main game modes in Cosmic Invasion. The first is the campaign, where you unlock each of the levels, switching between characters as you wish. Any progress you make in this mode is saved, so that you can come back later if you wish. In this mode you can also gain levels for heroes as you play, unlocking passive skills and extra health points. This is cool, but it's mostly rudimentary stuff, which is a bit of a shame. I would love to have unlocked some different moves for characters, like in Streets of Rage 4, rather than some HP, which isn't that exciting. Nonetheless, the campaign mode works well enough. The other mode is the arcade mode, which is the classic form you might be used to in other games. You start at the beginning and try to fight your way through to the last level and the end boss. Once you run out of lives, it's game over, man, and you'll have to start again. Nothing is saved. This is the classic way to play a scrolling beat-em-up. There are settings you can well set here to tailor the game how you want to. The roster, the number of heroes you can choose from, is rather robust, including some of the well-known heroes like Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Man and more, which is great. The more the merrier in my opinion, and hopefully this means you'll likely find a hero or two that you really want to play. The baddies, the general fodder, are somewhat akin to the foot soldiers in Shredder's Revenge, in that a lot of them share the same sprite but come in different colours. There are other baddies too, which is good, and they do look different enough to warrant their inclusion. There are also some which I actually recognise, like the Sentinels from X-Men. The bosses at the end of each level on the whole look like boss baddies, though one or two of them seem like they wouldn't be able to actually put up much of a fight against our brave heroes. The gameplay loop for Cosmic Invasion is the classic one of moving across the screen, doing away with baddies that assail you. It has all the movement you would expect with the traditional buttons, on my Xbox 360 controller anyway, for attack and jump. There is a button for dodge or block depending on the hero, and one for a special use attack. There is also a button for a super power move, but you must fill up your power or fate bar in order to use them. The movement feels good and rightly as you would hope from such a game. The heroes are easy to handle and fun to use. Each hero has a straight combo of moves that you can make use of by simply spamming the attack button. There is a forward attack move, jumping attack moves and so on. This all works well and you can juggle quite happily, comboing enemies for a long time. The moment-to-moment combat feels like what you want from a game like this. Punching and kicking dudes, firing fireballs and lasers and stuff, or launching baddies across the screen. Even if some of the baddies are a bit annoying. I do also wish that the enemies had health bars that you could see. What I'm not a massive fan of is the lack of grapples. In most scrolling beat-em-ups you are able to grab hold of a baddie and then perform some sort of attack on them, which might be a throw or a headbutt or something. In Cosmic Invasion there are only a few characters that can grab, and this takes up their special button. I do really wish it was default to all characters, and I think not having grapple was a mistake. Perhaps to make up for this, when you have chosen a mode and head to character select, you can pick two heroes to play as. Similar to Double Dragon Gaiden, you can switch between these heroes on the fly. Not only this, but you can also call in tag attacks by holding down the switch hero button and then pressing one of the attack buttons. This will not only cause you to attack, but also to tag your partner in to jump in and attack too. This will cause a considerable amount of damage, possibly interrupting an opponent's attack, and of course looks really cool. One downside to this is it uses up some of your special or fate meter, which means you may not be able to cast your mega special move as often. Also, it can get chaotic at times if you're playing with other people and all doing tag moves at the same time. The price for looking cool, I guess. I think this is a great addition to the game, allowing for some crazy looking attacks to be performed, while opening up possibilities to what different heroes might combo together with their attacks. The downside is that you won't be able to use your most powerful ability as much, but I think perhaps this is here to balance things a bit. Perhaps just spamming tag moves constantly, then doing your big special move might be too much. I guess you could counter and say that these are superheroes after all, and shouldn't that be how it is? Yeah, for sure, but I guess they want to have some friction, and not have you obliterate everything, even if that might be fun for a while. Another thing is that I felt somewhat compelled to use the tag system more because it was a main feature of the game. I guess I just like to use one hero, as that is how I'm used to, and indeed sometimes you just want to play as Wolverine only and stab things. Just don't use the tag system, you silly dwarf. Yes, I could just do that. I guess I'm just a weirdo who thinks too much. Lastly, concerning the gameplay, I should note that single player feels more difficult than if you're playing with a friend or three. They do the same attacks and moves with the same HP, so if you have more people, you can smash them up rightly. Some of the bosses do have some annoying abilities though, it has to be said. Luckily, you can crank up the difficulty if you go onto the arcade mode with more than one player. By playing the game, leveling characters, completing challenges and coming across them in the level, you can gain matrix cubes which can be used in the vault. There is a matrix here where you can spend one cube to unlock one of the slots. The slots are differently coloured, with each different colour being associated with a different type of unlock. Purple, for example, unlocks a new skin for a hero, which means you can change their outfit to a new different colour. Besides this, you can unlock new settings for the arcade mode, allowing you to suit the mode more to your liking. The matrix is kind of cool, but unless you know the layout, you have to try and figure out which nodes are nodes you want, and which are mostly uninteresting, like unlocking text descriptions of characters. I wish there was more interesting things to unlock, like extra moves for characters, or perhaps new characters at all, perhaps by reaching certain thresholds of cubes unlocked, something like that. Overall, there is a lot to like and enjoy here in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. The combat feels crunchy and there are some cool moves to employ, with each hero seemingly designed in their own way with some unique skills. Some heroes can fly, some can't. Some can do decent air attacks, some others not so much. Some of the special super moves are not so easy to hit with, or aren't really that cool to look at and doesn't do as much damage as you might hope. The tag system adds an extra level of play, so if you have two heroes you really enjoy, you can switch between them often, pulling off loads of moves with great flair. I think perhaps the longevity of the game is something worth talking about. Streets of Rage 4 has some cool sort of endgame stuff where you can go through randomised levels getting power-ups as you go, allowing you to build your character in a certain way for the run. Double Dragon Gaiden had something like this too. Because the game doesn't have that sort of mode, you might not play it as long as those other games. There is the ability to set the arcade mode though, with some challenging systems, so it isn't bereft of endgame sort of content. I am an old dwarf though. Back in the day when the Mountain Hold was still old, scrolling beat-em-ups had one mode and that was it. Maybe there was a bit of 1v1 PvP, but this was all. To have any sort of extra stuff is a good thing to me. Perhaps you don't need loads of settings and unlocks to have a good time with this. You don't need to play everything all the time, and anyway you can always come back to it. I do wonder as well whether they might add more stuff over the coming months. There are lots of heroes they could add, of course. Playing as Gambit would be pretty fun. The other thing to note is the price. It goes for £25, which is a little more expensive than some of the other games I've mentioned. I don't think it's too bad, to be honest. If you're a player like me, you'll likely get some good enjoyment out of this. If you have several controllers, you can play with some friends, family, which always makes for a good time in this old dwarf's mind. So yes, if you like scrolling beat-em-ups, then I think you will dig this game. It's a shame about the grab system, and there are a few things I think could be worked on, but overall, I had good fun with this game, and I'm sure I'll have some more fun in the future. It is available for PC and consoles right now. And there we go, dear viewers, another video from me here down in the Ancient Hold. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.